I get asked a lot how I got into vet school, and today I want to share my top tips so that you can get into. My qualifications for telling you this is that I got into all the vet schools I applied to on my first try. And this isn't supposed to be a brag of any sort. It's just saying that I was very strategic with my application and how I presented myself to application boards, and I want to share those tips with you so that you can also do the same. Number one, you're most likely going to have an essay of some sort where you talk about why you want to be a veterinarian. My number one tip is do not say, I love animals. Everyone who's applying to vet school loves animals. Of course, we wouldn't be in this profession if we didn't love them. But the people reading your application already know that about you, and they're reading that on like hundreds of applications every year. They want to know something different, something that makes you unique. So instead of saying, I love animals, you can talk about the impact that they've had directly on your life or experiences that you've had with animals that make you realize that this is your chosen path. Number two, get shadow experience from dogs, cats, horses, cows, and exotic or wildlife animals. You want shadow experiences in all of these categories, the more, the better. Because they don't want to see that you just worked at an animal shelter for 4 years of college. They want to see that you've diversified. Vet med is so diverse. There's so many different avenues that you can go. And it's so important that you explore all those avenues and show people reading your application that you've put in the work, the time, and the effort to explore what you might want to do later in life. Number three, talk less about what you did and more about what you learned from what you did. In your experience section, instead of saying, I worked as a kennel attendant at a local clinic, and then going into a whole paragraph about what that means. Like, I took care of animals, I fed, I watered them, I administered medications. They know what a kennel attendant is. Instead say, I worked as a kennel attendant where I honed interpersonal skills. I learned XYZ, which will help make me a more empathetic and compassionate, communicative veterinarian. I also learned time management, which will directly relate to my success as a veterinary student, in that I learned organizational strategies that set me up for success. That is so much stronger than I answered phones, took care of dogs, and drew blood. You're gonna learn all that stuff in vet school anyway. Talk about what you learned and how it's gonna make you a better vet. Have experiences outside of the vet world. Yes, they know that you've worked with animals and that you love animals. They also want to see that you have a life outside of veterinary medicine. Whether you're a yoga instructor, you do farmers markets on the weekend with your homemade sourdough bread, you are a professional skateboarder, talk about that in your experience sections, and that gives you so much more depth to your person. Okay, we are running out of time, so I'm going to make a part 2. Let me know any questions that you have in the comments, and I'll do my best to make a video about them and get back to you.